The CDC is changing its guidelines on vaccinations. We're going to have more details on whose next doctor visit could be impacted. Plus, 2 men accused in the death of a 13-year-old boy are expected in court this morning. Investigation leading to their arrest in the deadly shooting last year.
Light rain just starting to fall in parts of the city. We're at 41 degrees. This turns into a steady rain day with heavier rain and gusty winds tonight for your KGW weather impact alert.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 8 o'clock. I'm China Green. KGW is issuing a weather impact alert for later today for possibly the heaviest snowfall so far in some places. I'm not the expert. Rod Hill is. We're going to get to traffic in a second, but Rod, walk us through some of that.
Yeah, it's important to note because I think over time you've been conditioned. What's a weather advisory mean? Well, it's a warning. Is that worse? Typically it is, and this is a winter storm warning for the Cascades from the Weather Service for the Oregon and Washington Cascades. We're talking well over a foot of snow, potentially at pass level, and certainly 2 to 3 feet above 4,000 feet. Now that snow doesn't really get going in terms of making travel a mess until we get closer into the afternoon hours. So you still have some easy travel time at this hour. But rain-wise in the valley, you can see the light rain is certainly increasing. There's the Salem sky camera. Good visibility. The low cloud deck from the top of the Wells Fargo building, 41 degrees out at the airport. Some sprinkles around. Steady rain at noon, and then the heavier rain with gusty southwest winds picking up later this afternoon into this evening. And Chris, that might be right there for the part of the afternoon drive home.
Yeah, well, that's going to make a mess of things for sure. All right, we got some trouble over on the east side. Photojournalist Eric Patterson live on the scene of this crash. This is on Powell Boulevard westbound approaching the Ross Island Bridge. You can see the ODOT incident response truck there with the right lane blocked. The arrow is saying get over. Of course, a reminder that you're required to slow down and or get over a lane when emergency responders have a lane blocked on the roads. And they do right now on westbound Powell. So that is backing up the drive. This is near the Ross Island Bridge. And then I'll give you a different perspective from southeast Milwaukee. Whoops, step out of the way. You can see that westbound commute really starting to bunch up there. Drive times are okay, but certainly busy. Right now it's a 30-minute clip to get you in from the Troutdale on Interstate 84. 35 minutes right now to get you in from Wilsonville. And the trip out of Clark County from Hazeldale, about 23 minutes now to get you down to the Fremont Bridge. China?
Thank you, Chris. New overnight, Portland police say a driver has died after getting away from officers during a traffic stop. Just before 11:30 last night, Port of Portland officers attempted a traffic stop at Northeast Prescott and 116th. They say while the driver drove away at high speed, they did not pursue the car but monitored which way it was heading. They later received a report of a car on fire 2 streets down at Northeast Fremont and 112th, where the car crashed after striking a parked car. The driver was pronounced dead at the scene. In just about an hour, Xavier Hirsch and Anthony Hunter Jr., 2 of 3 suspects arrested in connection with the death of a 13-year-old boy, are set to appear in court. In April of last year, Liam Spanley Bailey was asleep in his father's apartment in Gresham when a shooting broke out in the adjacent unit. A stray bullet went through the wall, hitting Liam. He later died from his injuries. Hunter was arrested in August and Hirsch was arrested in October. The third suspect, Terrell Coy, was arrested in November. Now to an update on the standoff in Tigard that we first brought to you as breaking news on Sunrise yesterday. Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue say the man accused of barricading himself inside a Tigard home is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries. The standoff started at 11 o'clock Sunday night when officers responded to a report of a fight between family members at a home near Southwest El Dorado Drive and Fisher Road. The Washington County Sheriff's Office says that the man had guns and began setting fires inside the house. He was eventually burned, and deputies pulled him out of a window around 5:30 yesterday morning. All other family members got out safely. In the health headlines, flu activity in the United States has reached the highest levels seen in 25 years, with all but 4 states reporting high or very high levels of flu activity. Montana, Vermont, South Dakota, West Virginia are the only states reporting those low levels. Oregon and Washington, however, high levels. The spread is being caused by a new flu strain called subclade K. In terms of the severity here, the number of people hospitalized due to the flu is not unusual, but doctor visits for flu symptoms haven't been this high since 1997. Meantime, states across the West Coast are responding to new guidance from the CDC, reducing the number of vaccines recommended for children. So the move comes after President Trump directed the nation's top health officials to review how other developed nations structure their childhood vaccinations and to, quote, take action if they are doing better. Now, the West Coast Health Alliance warns that the change could increase the chances of outbreaks and lead to preventable deaths. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us live from the Multnomah County Health Department in Southeast Portland. So, Thomas, what else did experts have to say?
Yeah, well, China, doctors say that every recommended vaccine is encouraged for a reason, and this is a big change coming from the federal government here. Federal officials suggest the change is meant to, quote, restore trust in public health lost during the pandemic, rolling back recommendations for 7 childhood vaccines. That's chickenpox, flu, COVID, RSV, hepatitis A, meningitis, and rotavirus. Though some of those are still recommended for high-risk patients. Still, some parents we spoke with say they'll continue to get all those vaccines for their children previously recommended.
It's concerning that all of these vaccines are being rolled back. It's not safe.
Wildly disappointed. I think that it is harmful to our communities and to the immunity that we need as a community to keep our to keep healthcare costs lower and to protect our citizens.
A pediatrician we spoke with says each of these vaccines were recommended for a reason. RSV, for example, is the leading cause of infant hospitalization, according to the American Lung Association.
Babies get really sick, and with the introduction of the RSV vaccine, we've seen huge decreases in kids getting that sick.
And on Monday, the Oregon Health Authority announced that it will continue recommending these vaccines as well. China?
Our Thomas Schultz reporting live for us this morning. Thank you, Thomas. A neighborhood street is shut down in Northeast Portland following this mess. It turns out that a water main broke over the weekend, and while crews were trying to repair it, a truck and backhoe both sunk into the pavement. That's when the Water Bureau realized that the structural integrity of the street was compromised and bigger repairs would be needed here. Bryant Street is now closed from Northeast 18th to 22nd, and it's not clear how long repairs will take. Crews have already restored water to homes that were impacted. All right, your time now is 8:07. We're taking a live look from our Timberline camera as the sun begins to rise. We're seeing a little bit more of that snow, and later today, at some point, even more?
At some point. It's going to start dumping. Yeah. Winter storm warning up for the Cascades today, tomorrow night into early Thursday morning. Now, it's all dry up there currently, and really, I think you've got easy travel over the Cascades, certainly through noon, and maybe even into early afternoon. I would try to get over the passes somewhere in that time frame, because eventually the snow rates this afternoon will pick up. Cascade passes will become snow covered, and then it's game on for very difficult travel all the way into Thursday morning. Snow level today is 4,000 feet, maybe a little bit higher. That impacts Montgomery Camp, meaning it could be potentially above freezing with wet roadways for a little while before it starts to get colder up there. But later this evening, snow levels dive into tomorrow morning down to 2,000 feet, then they stay low into Thursday. And that's a foot or better at Government Camp, and hoping to get at least 30 inches, or maybe 36 at Meadows Timberline base areas, and then we go all dry on Friday, Saturday into the weekend. So here's Mount Hood, still dry. Here's some light rain pushing across the valley, moderate rain now falling up in Astoria. This just continues to become more widespread throughout the morning hours, and certainly by the noon hour, here's Futurecast. It's just steady rain. And really the most difficult part of our day to be dealing with the elements in terms of heavier rain rates and gusty southwest winds, 15 to 30, 35 miles per hour, will be between the hours of 4, 6, and 8 o'clock. That's when things are going to be the most active outside here in the valley. Right now, we just have some light rain. The south winds are picking up out there, 39 degrees in Salem. Not much mazeable precip in central Oregon today, but rain and snow showers, depending on elevation, will be picking up out across eastern Oregon. There's the 2 days of impact alert. The dwindling showers on Thursday and the dry weather on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Chris, we were talking about the south winds definitely moving the flags around this morning.
Yeah, we'll see how that impacts the drive later today. For right now, we've got a traffic alert in Southeast Portland. Photojournalist Eric Patterson on the scene of this fender bender here. No word on any injuries, hopefully not, on westbound Powell Boulevard, just east of the Ross Island Bridge. So that westbound right lane is or at least the shoulders tied up. Folks obviously slowing to get around that. So that is creating a slow spot here from southeast Portland, backing up the drive towards southeast Milwaukee as folks make their way towards the Ross Island Bridge. Let's shift gears. We'll take you over to Clackamas, actually south of. This is in the Gladstone area. I-205 southbound traffic moving along at about 15 miles an hour or so. Not that that's all that unusual for this hour of a Tuesday morning drive. And the trip in from Hillsborough at last check, that's not too bad, actually. 24 minutes, China. That's the drive time from Brookwood Parkway to I-405.
Thank you, Chris. Coming up, 3 broken down ferries are causing headaches for Seattle travelers, but what will it cost to fix them?
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Trimet is asking for your input on plans to eliminate some bus lines, cut back on others, and shorten the Max Green Line. Though it's important to note here that these changes aren't set in stone and wouldn't take effect until August. McCarty has more on what riders need to know.
At Portland's Rose Quarter, Trimet riders rush to catch connecting buses and trains.
I'm trying to hurry up and get home, but it's okay. That's my bus.
Most on this Monday night with only good things to say about the service.
It's really lovely. It's no complaints.
Portlanders relying on public transit to get to work, to get home, to get to a Blazers game.
I like not having to deal with the traffic in Portland.
And
the parking, for sure.
But service cuts and changes are coming later this year.
People that live there, people that need to travel. And so it does have an effect.
The agency calling it a last resort.
The situation will be very dire if we wait and do nothing. And so that's why we're taking these difficult steps now.
Those steps to address a $300 million budget shortfall. Tia York with Trimet says they've already tackled half of that with internal cuts, layoffs, and pauses on future routes.
So what we've done is try to go through our entire 533 square mile service area and make those adjustments. So these changes affect 35 bus lines, the Max Green Line, and eliminate about 3 bus lines.
Currently, the proposals have Trimet shortening the Max Green Line and eliminating bus service in South Gresham, along Stafford and Salamo Roads in West Lynn, and Tualatin-Sherwood Road in Tualatin. The agency provided more details and maps of the changes on the Trimet website.
So you can really see, oh, there were 3 lines here and now there are 2. Or, oh, this line once went that way and now it's taking a more circuitous route, so it serves all these areas so that no one or as few people as possible are left out.
All right, your time now is 8:14. We do have a weather impact alert for later today, so I brought you two meteorologists.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So I think tomorrow is going to be the exciting show to work, because at this time tomorrow morning, we'll be showing you big snow cover over all the passes.
It'll be pretty.
We'll be right in the middle of kind of seeing what we've got and how much more we're going to
And
get.
if Thomas Schultz is listening, he's going to be live up at government camp
Oh.
as a snowman.
That's excellent advice, a good plan.
We'll probably run that past the executive producer first.
And we could get 3/4 of an inch of rain, or even close to an inch, just from what starts today through tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to be a pretty good 2-day storm event. Snow up in the mountains, rain in the valley. Here's one of our Timberline cameras waiting for them to open up for the day. They have about a 2-foot base. They're dry up there right now. Winds are starting to pick up, gusting to about 30, 22 degrees is the temperature up there. Winter storm warnings in play for today through tomorrow overnight. In purple for both the Cascades of Washington and Oregon. It's really this afternoon that the snow starts to hit the Cascades and things start to pick up. We are now seeing light rain pushing into the valley. It's more of a moderate rain up into Astoria, and the big story today is with the rain gradually picking up. It's really light to start here this morning, not really that impactful, but this afternoon the rain all steady, gets a little heavier. South winds continue to pick up a little bit, and here is the heavier rain rates coming in with the front with gusty winds later today as well. This is 4 o'clock. I think 4, 6, 8. That's the roughest part of today in terms of if you're out and about. Rain's going to be coming down pretty good, and the gusty winds will be blustery, and there's the heavier snow rates now falling up over the Cascades. So that passes. And then tomorrow, it's not steady, but just occasional shots of heavy rain bands coming through. We'll have convection, which will fuel some downpours, and maybe, cold air up top, bring some hailstones down tomorrow as well. We'll be watching for that with the heavy snow continuing at times into Thursday morning up in the Cascades. Models love this being a really wet soak. Couple inches rain at the coast. Totals from today through tomorrow overnight. Over an inch in the valley, maybe an inch and a half in some locations. No advisories or warning for wind. It's more of a noticeable blustery period I mentioned in the 4, 6, 8 o'clock hour today. South winds could be gusting to 30 or better coming up the valley, and maybe to 40 or better up along the coast. Behind the front overnight tonight and tomorrow, the wind should be more of a westerly direction and more like 10 to 20, maybe some 25 mile per hour wind gusts. 41 right now in Portland, 39 Salem, 40 in Kelso. We're getting increasing areas reporting some light moisture falling at this hour. Again, the winter storm warning for the Cascades for today, tonight, into tomorrow overnight. Heaviest snow starting out would be later today. Southwest winds picking up, easily gusting to 35, maybe 40 miles per hour up there. And steady afternoon rain, heavier later in the day into the evening with temps in the 40s here in the valley. I've got an impact alert for the 2-day rain event with temperatures in the 40s today and tomorrow. Thursday, it all winds down. Some break, scattered showers, decreasing winds, all dry Friday into the weekend. That will get us back, of course, to some freezing, frosty starts as well. Here's Chris.
Rod, thanks for that. I've got some fog, or if not fog, just low cloudiness here to go along with some of that drizzle or light rain that's starting to fall at the Sylvan Hill. Highway 26 inbound, of course, puttering along at Skyline Boulevard around 14 miles an hour or so. That's normal for this hour of a Tuesday morning drive. Here's the trip through the Terwilliger curves. I-5 northbound certainly slow and steady there. From there all the way up towards the Markham Bridge. At last check, the drive-in from Wilsonville has now jumped up to about 36 minutes at last report. And the trip across the Columbia, well, I-205 looks good over the Glen Jackson Bridge. The I-5 commute, though, nearly 30 minutes to get you in from Main Street. And most of that slowing now is on the Oregon side of the Interstate Bridge. China, back to you.
Thank you, Chris. Well, 3 ferries are out of commission in Seattle, creating a headache for riders. Trips are delayed on key routes, and frustration is mounting. Madeline Carter from our sister station there has more on the tricky situation.
Riding the ferry is familiar territory for Kendall Luttrell.
My aunts lived on the other side of the water most of my life.
But her New Year's Day trip between Seattle and Bremerton was anything but ordinary. She was on board when a propeller blade broke off the 57-year-old Walla Walla.
We had only been on the water for probably about 5 minutes before it started jumping up and down, kind of like a jet ski is what it felt like.
That was just one of several problems leading to a rocky start to 2026 for Washington State ferries.
Definitely not on our bingo card for how we wanted to start the new year.
On January 2nd, the Kittitas was pulled from the Fauntleroy-Vashon Southworth route. The next day, the Tacoma was taken off the Seattle-Bainbridge run, both for emergency mechanical problems.
To have these kind of unexpected things arise back to back to back was, I think, surprising for us.
And for riders, it's frustrating.
They always run late, or there's always breakdowns.
In December, the governor acknowledged the fleet was showing its age.
As you know, many of our ferries are very old.
His transportation budget includes $1 billion for 3 new ferries and $150 million more to keep the current fleet running.
The only way that we can increase reliability in the fleet and, alleviate some of these issues of the older vessels is replacing them with new vessels.
And while riders question the price tag.
Well, where's that money coming from?
State leaders say it won't mean new taxes. The project would be funded by bonding existing revenues.
Whether it's hybrid, electric, diesel, just get the boats built.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Well, today marks 5 years since the January 6th attack on the Capitol. This morning, we're hearing from Special Counsel Jack Smith, who says his criminal case against President Trump was never political. Paul Wagner has more.
The criminal case filed against President Donald Trump for allegedly attempting to overturn the 2020 election was dismissed after Trump was reelected in November of 2024. Last month, the man in charge of that investigation, former Special Counsel Jack Smith, defended his case in a deposition before the House Judiciary Committee.
One of the strengths of our case and why we felt we had such strong proof is our witnesses were not going to be political enemies of the president. They were going to be political allies. We had numerous witnesses who would say, I voted for President Trump.
Smith also told the committee his work was never political, and the evidence against Trump was incredibly strong.
The evidence here made clear that President Trump was, by a large measure, the most culpable and most responsible person in this conspiracy. These crimes were committed for his benefit. The attack that happened at the Capitol, as part of this case, does not happen without him.
More than 100 officers were injured during the 2021 attack on the Capitol.
Law enforcement entries.
That's the voice of D.C. Police Inspector Robert Glover, who told News 4 in July of 2022 that the violence was so fierce he thought some officers would be justified in using deadly force.
I could see the fear in a lot of the officers' eyes.
A plaque honoring the police officers who defended the Capitol on January 6 has still not been installed on the west front of the Capitol. It was authorized by Congress back in 2022, and it's now the subject of a lawsuit in federal court. The lawsuit was filed by two officers who hoped to force the architect of the Capitol to finally display it for all to see. But the Department of Justice, which is defending the architect, wants the case dismissed. For now, the location of that plaque is unknown. To mark the 5th anniversary, there will be a memorial march organized by January 6 defendants, including former Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio. Tarrio was pardoned by the president and says justice has not been served for Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer inside the Capitol. A flyer posted by Tarrio on X says that march will begin at the Ellipse just before noon and honor all the lives lost that day.
Now to your morning rush. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which helped fund NPR, PBS, and many local TV stations, is officially shutting down. This comes months after Congress passed spending cuts that stripped it of more than $1 billion in funding. The cuts to federal funding have inspired donors from across the country to donate to public broadcasters, but it's unclear how long they can survive on donations alone. The Department of Justice says more than 2 million documents in the Jeffrey Epstein files still haven't been released. The DOJ was expected to release everything in December under a law passed by most of Congress late last year. Officials now say they need more time to sort through papers, photos, videos, and audio files stored in the FBI system. And the Trump administration is deploying around 2,000 federal agents to Minneapolis. That includes immigration and customs enforcement agents. Two law enforcement officials say that the move is part of an immigration crackdown. Senior officials have recently fixated on Minnesota after accusations of alleged welfare fraud. And that's a look at your morning rush.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Good morning, I'm China Green. The pilot of the Alaska Airlines flight that sustained a door plug blowout over Portland 2 years ago is now suing Boeing and Spirit Aerosystems. The lawsuit filed in Multnomah County Court alleges manufacturing errors, including missing bolts and defective work, led to the explosive decompression. Everyone on board the plane survived. The pilot, who is seeking $10 million in damages, also says Boeing damaged his reputation by implying that the flight crew was at fault. Headed over to Rod Hill for a look at weather.
Yeah, this is the beginning of our two-day rain event and our winter storm warning up in the Cascades. Later this evening, snow levels will actually drop all the way to about 2,000 feet. But for right now, we're just starting. This is light rain moving into the Willamette Valley. It's still dry up in the Cascades. Easy travel this morning over the high country. Gets worse as the winter storm moves in this afternoon. There's the state capital, 39 degrees. Good visibility in Portland as well, and 41. KGW impact alert for the steady rain this afternoon that becomes heavier going into this evening with some gusty southwest winds, about 43 with heavy rain rates at 5 p.m.
Some heavy winter weather making its way to parts of the Cascades. Taking a live look at our Timberline Lodge Skycam right now. We are expecting some of the heaviest snowfall of the season so far. So for more on that, we have Rod Hill for a look at what's going on over there.
Yeah, first big, I mean, this is crazy. It's January, but it is. It's the first big winter storm with feet of snow in the forecast for the Cascades so far this rainy now winter season that's taking hold. Easy travel over the mountains of mainly dry weather all the way potentially to almost noon. After that, the traveling up there gets worse and worse, and it's tonight that the snow levels fall from near pass level down to about 2,000 feet. So more on that coming up. We do have an impact alert for the rainy weather pushing into the area today as well. See, it's light rain now, slowly picking up across the area. Some areas reporting light rain, some areas saying not yet. There's the state capital, Salem, 39. That looks like that's now some light rain coming out of the cloud deck visually over downtown, 41, or at least some mist out there or sprinkles. Impact alert from noon on. So at noon, it's just raining, but it's steady rain. And then that rain picks up. Here's the main concern today, or at least what will mess with you. Heavier rain rates after 4 p.m. into mid-evening with gusty southwest winds, 20, 25, 30, 35 miles per hour. That could really mess up the drive back home later today. And the forecast statewide does include moisture moving across the area. We've got rain and snow showers up into the blues later today. It looks like a lot of this moisture kind of skips over Central Oregon with the shadow effect, if you will, during the day until tonight. But it'll be a wet day building at the coast and the valley. There are the two impact alert days for the Portland area, mid-40s. All of this, including the winter storm up in the Cascades, winds down Thursday morning with some breaks, scattered showers. And then just like that, we have a dry run Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Here's Chris.
Rod, thanks for that. We pick it up on the east side live from Drive 8. This is a tough way to start your morning. Unfortunately, that black sedan there wound up on the median on Southeast 56th and Foster. So they're kind of high centered there and stuck. Probably going to need a tow truck or something to get that poor driver off of that. In any event, as we take your way around the freeway system, we've got a drive on the Sunset that's pretty slow up in the low cloud deck there at Skyline Boulevard. Also pretty slow on northbound I-5 running through the Twilliger curves. Nothing unusual about this, but we do have a number of slow spots on the inbound commutes as we get deep into that morning drive. There's the Banfield coming out of the Hollywood district. Right now, the trip in from Chouthdale has jumped up to 37 minutes now on Interstate 84, as is the trip from Wilsonville Road to downtown, also 37 minutes, I should say, on I-5 North. China?
Chris, thank you. Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue, along with Aurora Fire, have extinguished a fire at an apartment complex in Wilsonville. This happened on Southwest Ash Meadow Circle and Vale Court. Officials say 2 units were affected by water damage. No one has been reported injured. A fire investigator is working to determine what started this fire. And we are working to learn more this morning on reports of a shooting last night in North Portland. This happened just after 9 o'clock in the area of North Interstate Avenue and Failing Street. About 2 hours later, our crew saw police detain 3 people. Now, it's still unclear what their roles were in all of this, but we have reached out to Portland police and are waiting to hear back on that. A man accused of shooting and killing a father of 5 at a Vancouver bar made his first court appearance yesterday. 28-year-old Jared Taylor is accused of shooting 43-year-old Corey Jones late Friday just outside the Off-Ramp Sports Bar and Grill. Jones' friend says he and Jones were leaving the bar when Jones and Taylor exchanged words, and seconds later, Taylor started shooting.
Friend was like, he went up to him and was saying, "No, dude, it's just a joke, learn to take a joke." And then by the time he got to the last word of joke, the guy just pulled out a gun and just unloaded.
Taylor, who is charged with second-degree murder, will be back in court on Friday. All right, we are turning back now To our weather impact alert coming later today for heavy snow in the Cascades. Before we get to Rod's forecast, we do have some winter driving reminders for you. Remember to check the forecast and road conditions before you leave. While you're on the road, be on the lookout for any signs telling you when snow chains are needed. You can also use traction tires on vehicles that weigh up to 10,000 pounds. As you're driving in snowy areas, watch out for snow plows. If you see one, be patient. Do not pass them. Take it slow, drive with your lights on, and reduce your speed. Speaking of speed, it looked like people were slowing down a little bit over there.
They should. So, and here's the deal with that too. If you're traveling over the high country and those chain and traction tire requirements go up, just know this. If you're chancing it and you don't have that stuff and you cause a wreck or you get caught and you need assistance, you could be cited. Furthermore, trucks are subject to a double fine, like something like a $500 fine if you're caught in a snow zone when the snow zones are activated and you're not properly equipped. So, this is certainly something you want to be aware of. Be prepared for snowy travel up there. All right, down low where the rest of us are, of course, it's getting a little drippy out there. On our camera shot, you can see the rain starting to come down in a few places. The drive coming in on the Sunset's a little slow, of course, at the Sylvan Hill. Right now, our traffic sensors peg that at about 14 miles an hour. I-5 north through the 205 interchange in Tualatin, that's a little thick as it is up through the Twilliger curves. Right now, the total trip in from Wilsonville has jumped up to about 38 minutes at last check. That's from Wilsonville Road to downtown. China?
Thank you, Chris. A new overnight emergency shelter has opened its doors in Southeast Portland. The Southeast Grand Recovery Shelter is for people looking for a drug and alcohol-free environment. It'll be open from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. each night. The shelter has 140 beds, though it can expand to 200 as needed during severe weather. Transition Projects will run the shelter in partnership with the city.
There's over 12,000 individuals in the metro area experiencing homelessness, and what this shelter provides or offers is a place to be safe, to have a safe night's rest. The goal for this shelter would be for people to come in here, and if they're wanting additional services, we can connect them to resources within the community, or we refer into one of our 24-hour shelters.
As part of a community engagement plan, there will also be a focus on keeping the area within 1,000 feet of the shelter clear from other camping. Meantime, the Multnomah County District Attorney is creating new accountability around the county's deflection program because in its first year, Multnomah County spent more than $8 million on this program. Law enforcement referred 520 people to deflection and just over 100 people completed it, which means they followed through on a referral. Now, DA Nathan Vasquez plans to charge people who don't, quote, meaningfully engage with the program. So KGW's Blair Best asked him what that would look like.
For me, what it really comes down to is the person actually taking some steps. Did they go to some meetings? Did they enroll in a detox center? There are lots of options, and I'm someone that believes there's a lot of different pathways to sobriety and to getting healthy, and so I'm not trying to be overly prescriptive and say it has to be this one way or the other. It's about allowing for many pathways to treatment.
So you can watch the full interview with DA Vasquez streaming anytime on our TV app KGW+. In Washington, D.C., the debate continues over whether the U.S.'s military raid and capture of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife was legal. This as the two pleaded not guilty to federal drug and weapons charges in court yesterday. NBC's Alice Barr brings us the latest.
Fresh tensions in Venezuela as overnight gunfire rang out in Caracas. Two White House officials tell NBC News the administration is closely tracking the situation and the U.S. was not involved. While in the U.S., Venezuela's deposed authoritarian leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores pleading not guilty to federal drug and weapons charges. Maduro saying in a New York courtroom that he's still the constitutional president of Venezuela, calling himself a prisoner of war. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi defending the Trump administration's move to capture and remove Maduro, accusing him of bringing tons of drugs into the U.S.
This was well within the president's Article 2 powers. It was a law enforcement function to arrest indicted individuals in Venezuela.
President Trump has repeatedly said the U.S. is now in charge in Venezuela, even as interim president and Maduro loyalist Delcy Rodriguez was formally sworn in. While in an exclusive interview with NBC's Kristen Welker, President Trump asserted the U.S. is at war with people that sell drugs, not with Venezuela, as Democrats slam the administration for acting without congressional approval.
It was military action, not a law enforcement action.
Republican leadership defending the use of force after a classified briefing for the Gang of Eight top congressional leaders.
The administration is acting consistent with the law, and that's what we discussed in the room tonight.
President Trump telling NBC News the U.S. may reimburse oil companies that help rebuild Venezuelan infrastructure, aiming for expanded oil operations within 18 months. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Here locally, we spoke with a former Venezuelan diplomat who is now living in the Portland area. He emphasized that many Venezuelans, as well as foreign governments, didn't recognize Maduro as the country's legitimate president. Alejandro Martinez, who came to Oregon as a refugee a couple of years ago, calls the arrest great news for his country. Martinez spent years fighting for justice as a leader for the Venezuelan Democratic opposition. At one point, he served as ambassador to Colombia for the interim democratic government. He says many people don't realize that before dictators came to power, Venezuela had a strong democratic government.
We have had a parliament that did the job, that respected the constitution, the institutions, a country in which political parties could go to elections, and that was respected. Maduro controlled the executive powers, of course, but also the legislative power, the judiciary, and even the electoral power.
Martinez hopes that his country will now begin to rebuild its once lucrative oil industry and regain its balance of power. A Washington native heading to the Olympics. What the first-time Olympian qualified for.
Hey, our team tests tons of products. We get rid of the rejects. We only bring you the best. And I love this one. It's called the Zippy Sweeper Pro. Take a look at it, and it's got this tri-brush technology here. It's very lightweight, cordless, so you can walk around the house. You just charge it with a USB-C, 30 minutes of use, and it can pick up almost everything. So let me turn it on for you here. Here are some Cheerios on the floor, very common around my house. Picking them right up, no problem at all, right? And then here's another problem we have too. Come on down here for a second. This is my dog's dog bowl, and he's a messy eater. So we always have the pet food around too. So look at that, nice and easy. And it's really, really easy to use too. I've been playing with this for the last few days. Also picked up frozen veggies on the floor too. So it really does work. The other great thing about the Zippy Sweeper Pro, it really gets into places that you really wouldn't want to with a dust buster because it hurts your back. Look how easy this is, right under my coffee table, and I'm barely bent down at all. Very good for people with back problems like me.
And check out the light on it, showing you exactly where to find those hidden crumbs.
Oh, and I love this. When you're done, all you have to do is pull back this gray handle. Let me tilt this up so you can see it. And it all just comes right out into the trash, no mess. We have an amazing deal on this for you today. Normally, this is $129.99. Today, exclusive for our viewers, $69.99. That is a huge 46% off the retail price. You know it's gonna go, it's while supplies last. Scan the QR code on your screen or go to shoptvdeals.com.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
We are 1 month out from the Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina, Italy, which means it's time to highlight some of the athletes. With an eye for fashion and an edge on the ice, figure skating favorite Alyssa Liu is ready for her second Olympic stand.
Alyssa Liu, you are the world champ.
Oh, my Siley. I pierced it a little over 2 years ago now. Also, I did it myself. I had my sister hold up my lip. And I was looking in the mirror and I had my piercing needle and then, I just put it through. Hi, I'm Alyssa Liu. I'm a figure skater and I'm from Oakland, California. You know, someone called my style alternative and I'd agree with that. You know how trees have rings for their age? I thought every year I'm gonna add a new halo around my hair. So it's been 2 years, so I have 2. Pretty soon, I'll have a new stripe.
Are you into fashion?
Yeah, I love fashion a lot.
You know, Milan's the fashion capital of the world, so we thought we'd play a little game. This game is called Bold or Cold. So you're gonna tell me if the outfit is bold or it's cold.
Okay. Oh, bold. Christian Gucci? Yes, y'all know me. Ooh, wait, what? I like this. I don't know what he's wearing though, but I really like her outfit. Bold for her, cold for him. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. Oh, bold. Come on, this is so cute. I would wear this, right now. I'm gonna go with bold.
That was bold or cold?
Hey, yes!
And the Northwest Cooper McLeod going to the Olympics. The Kirkland, Washington native qualified for the games over the weekend after finishing second in the 1,000 meter and 500 meter speed skates. This will be his first trip to the Olympics. All right, your time now is 8:46. We're taking a live look from our Timberline Skycam. The lifts are up and running as they open in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good out there, but it's going to get better.
Storm riding.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
What is it?
Storm
riding, yeah, when it gets
free
going.
refills, right? Yeah.
Dry up there right now. Snow will be picking up into the noon hour, then the heavier snow rates hitting the mountain this afternoon into tonight. They got about a 2-foot base right now. Both winds and snow will pick up. Winter storm warning for the Cascades, both Oregon and Washington in play today all the way through tomorrow overnight. I think technically NWS has it expiring at 4 a.m. Thursday morning. And this is the biggest one of the season, which is kind of pathetic, but it is, meaning we haven't had much snow. Over a foot at government camp, I feel like will fall, and maybe 2 feet. We have a chance to get 30 inches to about 3 feet base level at Mount Hood Meadows and Timberline. Again, snow picking up mainly this afternoon into the night. So I think traveling this morning, no problems. And then the snow level actually going into Thursday morning as the storm starts to wind down could drop as low as about 1,000 feet. Then we're all dry on Friday and Saturday. So again, dry up there right now. Morning travel good. Afternoon travel gets more and more hazardous or slow or difficult, however you want to phrase it. Here's the rain picking up across much of the valley right now. It's light rain and really not that big of a deal. This afternoon, after we've had the light rain going on for a little while, starts to become more impactful. And then the main event today for the valley that will grab your attention is when a cold front comes in early this evening. So the yellow, this is 4 o'clock, this is 6, this is 8 o'clock, shows the heavier rain rates coming down, and that's going to be accompanied with heavy winds coming up from the south, kind of blowing the rain around with some gusts 25, 30, 35 miles per hour. And then going into this evening, there's the heavier rain rates really increasing with gusty winds up in the mountains as well. Now, all of that moves through before midnight tonight. And then tomorrow, it's not steady, but it's just occasional shots with a west breeze of heavy rain bands or showers coming through. Convection tomorrow will lead to heavy downpours, and the more I think about it, probably will lead to some hail showers tomorrow as well. Here is, what's this, Thursday at noon. Now we're pretty much done, just some lingering showers and sun breaks. And then Thursday overnight into the weekend, we're all completely dry again. pretty good rain. Again, weather models, a lot of times weather models start off high, then they come down. This time around, the models keep lifting the potential rain totals. Now up to 2.6 in Tillamook, generally 2 inches at the coast, over an inch to an inch and a half expected in the valley. And don't forget, 5, 6 o'clock tonight, some breezy south winds coming up, maybe 30, 35 miles per hour. Raining lightly in Lincoln City. That looks like that was frost on the grass early this morning at 1,500 feet up in Welch's. That's the Mount Hood, Oregon resort. And we'll get some gusty winds out through the gorge today as well. Right now, winds are calm. You can see the pretty layering of the clouds from Elk Ridge Golf Course out in Carson. We're at 41 in Portland, 33 out in the Dalles, 28 out in Burns. So it's kind of a 2-day rain event today and tomorrow with the impact alert. And then we've got everything winding down quickly on Thursday and the dry weather on Friday into the weekend. It is birthday time, and today we are partying with Barbara, and that's a big one, 80 years old. Happy birthday to you. My goodness gracious, is that a recent photo? You look fantastic. Happy birthday. Birthdays at KGW.com. We'll celebrate with you. Here's Chris.
Let's take you to the Sylvan Hill, Rod. A live look at highlight. Let's try that again. Skyline Boulevard. I almost made it another word here. Skyline Boulevard at Highway 26. Slow and steady coming down the hill and into the Vista Ridge Tunnel. Right now, we're just shy of 30 minutes to get you in from Hillsborough. About 36 minutes right now, the westbound drive from Troutdale. And one of the slowest stretches of Portland Freeway now, the northbound I-5 drive from Wilsonville. There's what it looks like in Tualatin in the rain at the 205 interchange. And then as you get farther north, it tightens up a little bit more in the curves. Heads up in Cowlitz County, SR 503 down to alternating one lane here for the next 10 days or so between Finn Hill Road and McCracken Road. Washed out doing some tree trimming there. Also some utility line installation on SR 4. They'll be alternating one lane of traffic there as well from 8 to 4:30 through the end of the week. Again, that's up just west of Stella. We'll be right back.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
My mic. Okay, perfect. Sorry. In a wrap of our top stories this morning at 9 o'clock this morning, Xavier Hirsch and Anthony Hunter Jr., 2 of 3 suspects arrested in connection with the death of a 13-year-old boy, are set to appear in court. Last April, Liam Spanley Bailey was asleep in his father's apartment in Gresham when a shooting broke out in the adjacent unit. A stray bullet went through the wall, hitting Liam. He later died. Hunter was arrested in August, and Hirsch was arrested in October. The third suspect, Terrell Coy, was arrested in November. Flu activity in the United States has reached the highest levels seen in 25 years, with all but 4 states reporting high or very high levels of flu activity. Oregon and Washington have the highest levels. The spread is being caused by a new flu strain called subclade K. In terms of severity, the number of people hospitalized due to the flu is not unusual, but doctor visits for the flu symptoms are up.
One of those days where the rain's just starting and you're out this morning, you're like, this ain't bad, just kind of light gentle rain, but it will get heavier later this afternoon into this evening with gusty winds coming. We have an impact alert for this kind of 2-day rain event today and tomorrow. And don't forget the winter storm warning with Cascade snow rates picking up this afternoon. Heavy snow, especially this evening overnight into tomorrow morning down to 2,000 feet.
All right, the afternoon drive, as Rod said, probably going to be a soaker. This morning's drive, not terrible, but we still have some slow spots deep in our Tuesday morning drive. 25 minutes now, the ride in from Hillsborough, 35 minutes the ride from Troutdale, and can we get a 40? Not that you wanted it. 40 minutes your northbound I-5 drive from Wilsonville to the Markham Bridge.
Hey, if you are still looking for a calendar for 2026, TSA and its cutest workers got you covered here. The annual tradition features 13 of the TSA's more than 1,000 explosive detection dogs. One of them is the winner of last year's TSA's Cutest Canine contest. Steeler is a nearly 3-year-old lab retriever who works at Pittsburgh International Airport. TSA trains about 300 dogs each year, and it's a 16-week-long training program. The canines are deployed at airports, rail stations, and ports. And here's the best thing about the calendar. It's a free download that you can find on tsa.gov.
I like that story.
Very cute. Shout out to my sister who every year sends me a calendar of my niece and nephew. Ever since they were born, I think we're like 13 years in the running.
Parents love those.
Yeah, so if you see random kids on my desk, that's who it is. A reminder, you can watch Sunrise every day live here exclusively on KGW Plus. Starting at 7, we have added another half hour of news at 12:30 and 5:30. We hope to see you then. Have a great day.